Welcome to today's video. In today's video, we'll be discussing the latest news going on in the Ukraine war. It is June 2nd, 2024. We are first going to start off with this map over here, and we are going to take a look at Chasiv. The Russians have made a massive breakthrough through Chasiv over here. As you can see, a lot of the land was captured. This is not just Russians saying it. This is literally geolocated footage posted by the Ukrainians. And over here you can see, we're not going to watch the whole video because the Russians do end up, a few soldiers do get taken down with a FPV drone. However, the Russians literally, this is a Russian vehicle. It comes in, you can see right here, that's Russia in Russian. And these soldiers just walk into the trenches. As you can see, these are Ukrainian trenches, and they are not occupied by any Ukrainian forces. This is incompetence on a level I have not seen like this before. Probably the last time in a while at least, the last time we saw something like this, that wasn't really incompetence. They just didn't have enough firepower, so they withdrew. Was the Ukrainians around Avdiivka when the Russians made that massive breakthrough over here and captured several villages in just a couple of weeks. Right over here, the Russians ended up capturing everything like from Stepove onwards when that had happened. That is unthinkable how that happened. Likely, I watched some people talking about it, and it could be that the Ukrainians were doing rotations and they just didn't manage to send the men from that were rotating out. They didn't manage to send dudes rotating in back in those positions. Some people are saying the Ukrainians just went up here and didn't have any men here. Either way, it's just strangely bad for the Ukrainians. This is very bad for the Ukrainians. The person who made this map says he did it in sections, and the reason being is because the Ukrainians may be doing counterattacks right now, may have pushed those Russians back. From what we saw, it wasn't a big force, but we are going to have to look in the coming days to see what happens if the Ukrainians push them back. Even if the Ukrainians do, it's bad because it was high level incompetence. But if the Ukrainians don't, that could wrap up the battle of Chasiv by months. So let's say Chasiv is going to fall hypothetically. I'm not saying it will fall in this amount of time, but let's just say, let's give it 9 months to fall. This could wrap it up in 4 months because they've crossed the canal, which is very difficult to cross, and that's one of the main things Chasiv has benefiting it at the moment. The only place Chasiv the Russians have entered is a place in Chasiv that is ahead of the canal line, so there's no really protection. Now let's go through all the other updates across the front lines. That was just very big. Let's go to the Dnieper area where the Russians seem to be attacking the Ukrainians are attacking the Russians with FPV drones. Nothing special. Both sides are attacking each other with FPV drones. I apologize again, but we won't be able to watch these videos because of the violence in them. Moving on to Robotine section, we see that the Russians are just bombing Ukrainian positions. There are reports that the Russians captured this area over here. The Russians are just bombing Ukrainian positions, and that's all what's going on over there. Now, moving on to, again, Avdiivka section, we have some weird designs by the Russians to, like, cope cages for their motorcycles, and this looks like something you'll probably see in, like, a third world country to carry stuff on. But it's supposed to be for their motorcycles to stop drones. Honestly, that thing's not going to stop a drone. That's just not going to happen. However, like when we saw cope cages on tanks, the cope cages on tanks did not stop the drones. The turtle tanks, that was stopping the drone. But even now, you're seeing the Ukrainians adjust in how they hit them and how they attack them. And now you're seeing more turtle tanks getting destroyed. We also have drone footage that we're not going to watch the full thing in Ivanivske of the Ukrainians attacking Russian positions. Now moving on to Kharkiv area, I heard from a pretty unreliable source that the Ukrainians were doing massive counterattacks in this region, and now it's being confirmed by other sources that are more reliable than that one. This thing says the armed forces of Ukraine counterattacked in Volchansk, Kharkiv Oblast, and retook several blocks. In response, the Russian troops mercilessly bombed the city, turning it into ruins. The west of Volchansk, the enemy took about half of the village in other directions. The advance of the Russian Federation slowed down. Now, about a quarter of Volchansk is under Russian control. A week ago, it was almost half. So as you can see, this Ukraine, it just shows with the Ukrainians counterattack. Likely they counterattack from here, and it's not likely that the Ukrainians have captured all of this in just that short amount of time. This Kharkiv offensive, I don't think is going anywhere because from the beginning, I do not think it was Russia's goal to take Kharkiv, the city. I think it was literally Russia's goal to distract and to see any weak points. And that may have just happened in Chasiv, who knows. But I do not think it was their goal to take Kharkiv city, because it's pretty... For putting 8,000 plus men in this direction, that's not going to take the city. As you can see, in the beginning, they took a lot of villages. Now they're barely moving. This line has stayed stagnant. If it's anything, the Ukrainians are advancing this line, and now we are seeing counterattacking full chance. Again, this was yesterday, but I'm just going to talk about it just real quick. Belgorod was shelled with HIMARS shells for the first time because the U.S. basically said the Ukrainians could strike Russia in Belgorod Oblast alone. That's basically it for today. Hopefully I'll release another video today, because there is more news coming in fast. This is also a video of German trains carrying U.S. Abrams, and another video of some old looking Soviet tanks heading to Ukraine. So aid is coming to Ukraine, and yeah, the front line stays stagnant for the most part, except for that massive breakthrough in Chasiv. We're going to have to look into it, and in Volchansk, we're going to have to look into that as well. Anyway, guys, make sure to like this video, subscribe, put your comments down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.